In today's second keynote, Mel Antonen will share his experience as a local, regional, and national baseball journalist to describe how ball games in South Dakota fit into the big picture of the national pastime. Antonen, a native of Lake Norden, graduated from Augustana College in Sioux Falls. He began his career at the Argus-Leader, covering sports, agriculture, and politics, and then moved to USA Today and became a baseball reporter for 25 seasons. Currently, he writes for SI.com and does baseball analysis on MASN TV, the network that covers the Nationals and the Orioles. And also on Sirius XM Radio, a network with 25 million subscribers. So he's used to a bigger audience than us. He is a curator of the South Dakota Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame in Lake Norden and a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America. His speech, How Baseball Games in Yankee Stadium and South Dakota Are Alike, is sponsored by Capital University Center here in Pierre. Please welcome Mel Antonen.
Well, thank you, Nancy, and thank you for everybody for having me here. I wonder, how did I get the session where everybody eats hamburgers and brats and hot dogs and then comes in and has to sit and listen? Jay said this morning that everybody should turn off their cell phones, but I think just to keep everybody awake, it wouldn't hurt if we turn it back on.
Isn't that the baseball menu?
It is. It is the baseball menu. Cracker Jacks, peanuts. Yeah, it was perfect. But anyway, thank you for having me here, Nancy. Thank you for that introduction. I'm very excited to be here. I was excited to be invited. Reporters are generally trained to listen and to hear stories, and so I'm not always comfortable being the center of attention. I look forward to the question and answer period, and I look forward to hearing from you about baseball memories. I left the Argus-Leader in Sioux Falls for Washington, D.C. in 1985, and I've been there a long time, but this state has a strong pull. And no matter how long I'm gone, South Dakota will always feel like home. When I return, I usually go to Lake Norden to see my family. But it is good to be in Pierre, and I haven't been in central South Dakota for a long, long time. As a reporter for the Argus-Leader in the 1980s, I did a few stories from the capital, and of course that was fun. But most of the time as a farm reporter, I would come to central South Dakota to cover the winter wheat harvest. And I remember how mesmerizing it was to watch those combines go up and down over the rolling plains, similar to ships at sea. And I guess that's one way we can define life in South Dakota. But today, I'm here to talk about sports and baseball and how it is unique on the South Dakota prairie. I can give you my perspective from a small town on the eastern side of the state. In a lot of ways, I think that is reminiscent or a snapshot of how a lot of males, a lot of kids grew up in South Dakota. A lot of South Dakota sports fans grew up. Now usually, when I speak about Major League Baseball, my speeches and the questions that follow can go in a variety of directions. There's New Age statistics. There's the Hall of Fame debate. There's instant replay. And the effects of 2 more wild card teams in the baseball postseason come October. Sparking a baseball debate is one of the easiest things in the world to do. And if Pierre is like any other place in America, I'm sure that there's Cubs fans here today that are wondering.
Yeah, all right.
Will the Cubs ever win a World Series?
Yeah, not in my lifetime.
But it's been 100 years. It's been 100 years and more counting. Now here's my question for you as a Cubs fan. If you ever do win a World Series and that miracle takes place, will you lose your identification as a lovable loser?
No.
Now we can talk about the Twins. We can talk about the Twins. But the way they're starting, that could be depressing. But maybe when we talk about Twins baseball, we can talk about Target Field and how it compares to the other 28 new ballparks that have been built in Major League Baseball since 1989. Or we could ask, which World Series is the most dramatic ever played? Was it the 1991 Twins beating the Atlanta Braves? Or was it the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals beating the Texas Rangers? Was it Jack Morris's 10 innings of shutout ball in Game 7? Or did David Freese's triple for the Cardinals last year trip your heart more? This is what's so unbelievable about the baseball season. It's 162 games, but one more win from the Atlanta Braves last year, and we would have never had this debate about the Cardinals and the Twins. In fact, if the Braves had gotten one or maybe two more hits with runners in scoring position in one of their last 15 games, we would have never had a miracle of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jack Morris's 10 shutout innings, David Freese's triple. What a comparison. Will it ever be settled, that debate? I doubt it. And you might hear from Red Sox fans in 1975 when Carlton Fisk hit the home run. They might say that's the most dramatic World Series that's ever been played. Of course, once-in-a-lifetime moments, the kind that make the hair on your arms stand up, are not exclusive to the big leagues. South Dakota has its own legendary heroes. It has its rich moments, and it has its debates that last through the ages. We just saw a video, a well-done video on the basketball tournaments in South Dakota. Webster, 3 consecutive basketball state championships. Is that a bigger accomplishment with more magic than the Armor Packers' 64-game winning streak and consecutive B titles in 1978 and 79? Or maybe I'm missing something. Let me know. Let's enter the debate. My point is this. South Dakota sports fans have heart. South Dakota sports fans have as much passion for their sports, whether it's baseball or basketball, than Yankees fans, as much passion as Yankee fans do in New York. The only difference is that there's fewer people out here and South Dakota's stage isn't as big. And I guess that would be an understatement, given that 36 of South Dakota's counties don't even have one traffic light. Excuse me, I'm chewing ice. I know I'm not supposed to do that. But we love our state. We love our hometowns. And this affection is expressed in the loyalty to the sports teams, whichever the season is. Certainly we cheer for the local athletes. But we also cheer for laundry, for the name of the team on the front of the jersey. And South Dakota is special because our #1 sports focus is on amateur athletes, no matter the sport. We don't have a professional team to give us a lot of legend and a lot of legacy. All states have high schools and colleges that play sports, but their news stories become second natures to the professionals. Go to St. Louis and people want to wear red and hear about Stan Musial. It's been that way since he's retired for 7 decades. In New York, locals attach themselves to the pinstripe Yankees in a city of noisy subways, tall buildings, piles of garbage, and hard-edged attitudes. But in South Dakota, we crown our champions among the wide open spaces of pasture land and beautiful sunsets. And it's the local athletes that grab the headlines in the newspaper and lead the sports shows across the state. Boston might have Fenway Park, but South Dakota has the Sioux Falls Arena. South Dakota has Mitchell-Cadwell Park. I remember as a college student at Augustana, I coached a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds in baseball. And when we came to Sioux Falls for a Bantam tournament one year, we drove by the Sioux Falls Arena. And when I told the kids that's where the State B tournament was played, you could see the awe in their faces. Yes, it's the local athletes that develop the legends. In baseball, when you think of Rapid City, you think of Ralph Macy. In Clearfield, you think of the Minard family. In Claremont, you think of Keith Cutler and all his sons. In Lake Norton, you think about Bert Toulson, who grew up on a farm just outside of town and grew up wanting to be the manager of the Lake Norton Lakers. And he has been for 30 years and counting. And it's not just men and boys that capture our attention. What kind of force is Sue Ann Big Crow of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the 5'6" sophomore who scored a basket at the buzzer to give Pine Ridge a 42-40 win over Millbank in the 1989 state Class A tournament? And what about South Dakota State's Jennifer Workentine? As a young girl, she went to a garage sale and bought for $1/4 a pair of South Dakota State workout pants. And from that point on, she wanted to be a jackrabbit. She played basketball, high school basketball in Willow Lake, was an all-state player, and then came to South Dakota State and ended up leading the women to the NCAA tournament. You know, I love that story. I love all these stories.